Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria Angulo. I'm the head of growth and university relations here at CodePath, and I'm super excited to be talking to you all this afternoon/evening. I'm here with my colleagues, Mark and Guillermo, who are wonderful iOS gurus who are going to walk you through everything that you're going to learn when you take an iOS course. So we're just really excited. I'll go ahead and get started. So here are the founders of CodePath. As you can see, it's Michael Ellison, Nathan Eskenazi, and Tim Lee. They all have really diverse backgrounds as far as what they've done, but one thing holds true, and it's they're extremely passionate about diversity in tech. Michael has funded a unicorn startup. So for those of you who don't know, that's a startup that's valued at 1.5 billion. That's billion with a B. Nathan has created some great companies as well, along with Tim, and they started by creating engineering onboarding programs for senior engineers. And what they noticed when they were at some of these companies was that they looked around and everyone kind of looked the same. So they wanted to really create a way to make pathways for students who wanted to get to these companies, who wanted to take their tech career to the next level. And they went from being a for-profit to being a nonprofit 501c3. So here's the executive summary, kind of explaining how we work and why we do what we do. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We work to increase diversity in tech nationwide, and we're really looking to make systemic changes inside of the computer science education world. We partner with companies such as Facebook, Slack, Google, Microsoft, to create job-focused CS courses and educator tools. So moving away from maybe a lot of theory into more hands-on labs and projects that my colleagues will dive into in a bit. So we integrate the courses into existing CS programs across the country. We do that through professors, working with professors, as well as connecting with student leaders to bring CodePath to their campus. We connect students with high-paying jobs and careers through virtual career fairs, mentorships, and so on and so forth. We are live at 50 plus colleges at the moment and universities across the US. To date, we've taught 4,500 plus students, where we're very proud to announce that 44% of those are underrepresented minorities and women. So we're currently working to double our numbers of students taught every semester. That's something that I am personally in charge of doing, so I'm really excited about that and what's to come for CodePath. So here are some job outcomes that are really important to highlight as you think through, why am I going to take a course that's outside of maybe my university norm, or why am I going to put in some of this time that maybe I could be playing video games or doing whatever, right? So here are some of our job outcomes. 42% of students who take a CodePath course land internships at top companies, including Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, and more. This past year, 588 CodePath students received internships or full-time job offers, of which 41% were from the Fortune 1000 companies, 12% were from the FAANG companies, and 2% from unicorn startups. A small number of our students are also entrepreneurs and started their own companies, and that's also something we're always very proud of. Among a recent cohort of first-generation CodePath alumni, 65% are software engineers, software developers, or SWE interns. So pretty exciting stuff. So today we're going to talk about iOS, right? And the iOS course that we're hosting and that we can bring to your campus. So we offer a no cost, that's free 99 iOS development course for CS and software majors with an open source curriculum that gets constantly updated by software engineers in Silicon Valley. Our course makes sure to keep you up to speed with the latest tech and ahead of the curve. This course is an intense, project-focused iOS training inspired by professional engineers in Silicon Valley and facilitated by CodePath training teaching assistants. So who should take this course, right? That's a pretty important question. So students who attend US colleges and universities, ambitious students who want to learn the ins and outs of iOS development. Some of the prerequisites that we require for this course in order for it to be a good fit for you include having completed an intro to object-oriented programming course, or having existing familiarity. Computer science majors who have completed a data structures and algorithm course or have existing familiarity. So we do allow non-comp sci majors as long as they have experience in the requirements above and plan to pursue a career in tech. So today we're going to talk about two courses that we're offering. The first being the CodePath General course and the campus-led course. So what is the difference, right? So right now, both courses may be led remotely, depending on what's happening at your campus in the fall. However, the CodePath General course is a 6-week course where the group project is opt-in. This is a little bit of the requirements. So for example, the CodePath General course is open to students throughout the US, so you don't have to be at a specific campus. It starts on September 19th. It ends October 30th. Outside classroom time, it's 5 to 10 hours of work. It's limited seats, and the group project is opt-in, and you're building community with students from the US. However, if CodePath is at your campus, meaning that a student has or a professor has brought CodePath to your campus, you are going to be taking our campus-led course. These are semester-long or quarter-long courses, 2 times per week, 1 to 2 hour sessions. It begins on your university schedule. So when you go to apply on our website, you'll be able to see what the start date of the Tech Fellows, or which are the student leaders that will be leading the course, will be taking. We have a great amount of accessibility as far as seats go in those courses. Group project is required, so it's not something that you opt in. It's actually something that you're going to do if you're a part of this course, and you're building community in your university with the student leaders and other computer science or related majors. So where are we running iOS Fall 2020 campuses? Where's this happening, right? So as you can see here, we have a couple for credit at CSU Dominguez Hill, CSU Monterey Bay. We're running non-credit at Arizona State University, College of Staten Island, Columbia University, Florida State University, Michigan State, San Jose State University, and University of California, San Diego. So if you go to any of those universities and you're here today, we'll be leading you to apply at go.codepath.org/iOS campus, and I'll be sending all of these links after this talk. So if this course is run for credits on your campus, you're gonna go ahead and apply on the course registrar as you would any other course. So I'm gonna hand this over to my colleagues who will be able to walk you through all the fun stuff of what you will actually learn.
All right, so hello everyone. My name is Mark. I'm one of the iOS gurus here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the assignments that we're going to be going over throughout the course. So if we can go to, there we go. So during the course, we're going to go over 3 main assignments. A Flix, which is like an IMBD clone. We're going to go over Twitter and Instagram, those two also being clones. Each of these assignments is going over really useful topics such as working with APIs, table views, and during our Instagram, we're going to learn how to build our own backend API. So throughout the course, we'll also be having group projects. If your course is, hold on, my computer just, okay, there we go. Sorry about that. The computer froze on my side for just a second.
Will you let me know if you want me to hit next, okay, Mark?
Okay, yeah, let's go to the next one.
Okay, sounds good.
So during the course, we're going to go over group projects. The group projects, if you're at the course at a university, the group projects will be mandatory, as Vic mentioned. And during that, you're going to have the second half of your semester or quarter to work on your own app. So you're going to be able to take all the great lessons that we've taught you and get real hands-on experience. We've also seen some of these students actually launch their apps to the App Store, which is super cool and exciting. And we can go to the next slide. So as I said, we're going to be going over basically 3 main assignments. Each one of those 3 main assignments is going to take up 2 weeks, so which will make up the 6 weeks. In addition to the assignments, we will have labs. This is also 6 labs, and this semester in this course run, we're going to be making a Yelp clone. So each one of these labs we're doing is going to be reinforcing the content that we went over in the assignments. And then the second half of the course will be for the group project. Okay, we can go to the next one. Yeah, and again, the group projects are optional for the CodePath general remote course, but they are required for the campus-led sites. And this is just a few examples of projects that our students made last semester. Guillermo, you want to take it from here?
Yeah. Hey everyone, my name is Guillermo. I just recently graduated from UC Irvine, and now I'm working with CodePath's as a tech guru. And I want to talk a little more about what are the results, the outcomes of these students. So as you noticed on the pathway from the previous slide on the course timeline, you can see how you'll basically, if you were to like deconstruct and get the bones of what the course consists of, it's basically you learn all the material, and then you actually do the fun stuff, which is getting together with people, working on a project, and basically it's the group project aspect is more of like a way to prepare you for the actual internship once you go into a software engineering role. Because as you'll look in the syllabus later on, you'll realize how it's going to be very similar to what it is on the job field, which we'll talk about in a bit. Can we go to the next section? Back to the project.
Yeah.
And back to what Mark was saying, these are actually real projects from real students that have taken the course from schools that are maybe some of you even go with them already and you don't know that they've taken this course. But these are just some of the few projects that we've been able to build. And if you want to check out more, I know that Emily, wait, is Emily here today?
I can send the link to the blog when I send the follow-up.
Oh, okay. We'll send you out some other links so you can check out other projects of students that they have built, and so you can see what kind of projects that they've been working out through the entirety of a semester-long course, or it could be a quarter if you're on a quarter system. But these are just some examples of the things that you can do. And I mean, this is one of the main reasons also why I love CodePath. It's because normally when I take my normal college level classes, we just learn the syntax, just the basics of programming, right? We learn how to do functions, we learn how to do recursion, maybe even some iterators in Python, all that cool stuff, or maybe it's not as cool, but it's at least fundamental. And although they're great, they don't really engage us that much as students. And that's what I started realizing that was missing throughout my college experience. So after I joined CodePath, I saw the huge difference in terms of how I believe coding should be taught. And the way I believe it should be is the CodePath way, which is you learn something, then you make something, right? But you make something like that's actually useful. Like all these apps that you're seeing right here on the slide deck, these are actually useful apps that you can probably deploy them to the App Store and get people to use them, right? These are things that can actually be useful in someone's life. So that's really what made the difference when I was learning about CodePath in my experience. But now let's go dive into a little bit more on the syllabus. So let's go to the syllabus part 1. So now that you know the timeline of how we're going to go through about this course, these are the actual topics that you'll be learning in the first 6 weeks of the course. So Unit 0 doesn't count as part of the week. That's more of a pre-assessment, just to verify that you understand some basics of programming. And that's where you'll be making your own tip calculator, and that will be like sort of the pre-admission to verify that you actually understand some of the basic concepts. And then from there, now we kick off the real material that we are going to teach from the Tech Fellows or on behalf of CodePath staff. And you can see from Units 1 to 6, we cover some of the basics of iOS that are basically the essentials. These are the essential packages that you need when going into any job field. You're gonna need to learn how to do networks, right? Network request, APIs, post, get, request methods, table views, which is table views you're gonna learn when you take either iOS or Android. You're gonna learn that you're gonna learn that table views are like life. Table views are gonna be your soul of any application that you build. Then we go into navigation, passing data, right? How do you go from one screen and like select something and it'll take you to a detailed screen of it. Then unit 3, it's all about auto layout, because now that we have so many different phone sizes, how do you make your app adjust dynamically? And doing search and filter requests. Unit 4, you're gonna learn how to do, actually it's a little bit outdated because we recently just updated a few weeks ago, but we're gonna teach you on unit 4, how to do animations so you can make your app look nicer and also let the user know what's going on with the app. Later in unit 5, we are going to teach MVC, but that's also going to be in unit 2, authentication with parse. So the last 2 sessions, 5 and 6, that's basically where you build your own backend using parse server combined with iOS. So essentially, we're giving you the whole package deal right here. We're going to show you the basics up until like how to even set up your own database backend so you can connect everything together. Just have everything. And there's a question in the chat. Do you need previous experience with apps? No. You only need to know some of the basics of data structures. Like, do you know what an array is? Do you know what a list is? A dictionary, hash map? That's all you really need to know for this course, because it's a really, our courses tend to be, the iOS is meant to be user-friendly or intro-friendly. We want it to be friendly for those who are like still new into programming, but also accommodate those that have some experience already building some cool stuff, maybe in web development. How many students are you accepting in the remote version? That should be a question for Vic. Can we go on to the syllabus part 2?
Yeah, let's answer all of the questions at the end so we can get through all of them, or whoever's on the chat, Karen and Mark, if you get a chance to answer anything that you can, and if not, I'll go through and answer.
Sounds good. Thank you. So now part 2, this is where you, going back to the course timeline, you learn everything, right? You learn on the technicalities of iOS. Now what do you do, right? This is where our course makes a difference compared to other college level courses. This is where you get together in groups and you come up, we teach you how to go about your project, but in the real world, like how companies actually go about it. And we're gonna do it in sort of an agile method where you brainstorm, you get together with your group, you write down your user stories. What are some of the main aspects of your app? Then you go ahead, write down your wireframes, the user flow, data schema, right? Where you write down what kind of data points do you need. You're gonna have a user, each user is gonna have this and that. And then you go into your MVP sprints. That's basically when your MVP sprints is when you actually start coding with your group and you start seeing your app come to life. Once you finish all of these parts of your application, now you come into the last aspect of the course, which is demo day. And if you saw earlier in the other slides where we showed the former projects from the past, that is where you get to present what you did in front of us, in front of the tech fellows, professors maybe, and we also try to get some companies to come and check out your projects so they can follow up with you in case they want to hire or they want to look for students who are interested in working with them. So this is essentially the pathway of learning how to become a software engineer. It's definitely a great starting point because that's what you would be doing as a software engineer. You learn new things, you learn a new language, you learn new technology. Then once you learn it well, now you get with your other coworkers and then you start developing ideas. What is it that you're going to need? And then present it to your project manager, right? That's essentially how it goes. And that's a good starting point for that. And now that you sort of saw what the eligibility process is like, what's the course look like, and what it's going to consist. Are you ready for it? I'm going to talk about the admission process a little bit. So if you're the person that is interested in taking the course and you have at least some basic level experience of programming and you do want to learn iOS, then this is the admission process. It consists of 2 points. The first one is complete the application process, which is more of a get to know you form where you write down where you go to school, you have LinkedIn, which course are you going to enroll? Are you going to enroll for the CodePath general course or the university school specific course? Because we do have some of our courses offered by tech fellows, which are basically students that teach the course. I was a tech fellow before for UC Irvine, and I taught some of my students at UC Irvine while still in college. And once you finish that application, then you are asked to fill in the pre-work. And the pre-work, that is just to show us how curious and how ambitious you are to actually learn iOS development. And you'll be on that pre-work calculator, you'll be working on a simple type calculator, and that will just tell us that you're ready. You're ready to actually start learning iOS, and you're interested, and you're going to be committed. And if we could go on to the next slide, just for that pre-work assessment is August 2nd. And remember, I do want to highlight an important point. You can access the pre-work after you complete the application. So I have had some students and tech fellows come up to me and ask me, hey, when is the, I don't see the pre-work or the pre-work assessment, where is it at? That's because you have to finish the application first, and then you'll get an email telling you to finish it with the link on it, as well as on your dashboard. You should be able to see it on your dashboard when you finish your application. So remember the deadline, it's August 2nd. And feel free to start asking questions in a bit, but I'll pass it on to Vic to finish off our meeting. But I'll answer questions in the chat in the meantime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Guillermo. Yeah, beautifully said, Guillermo and Mark. I know that you all have that really hands-on experience, and from the conversations that we've had, you've told me that CodePath has really changed your life and the way that you see yourself as a computer engineer. So I'm really happy that you were able to tell the students what your experience has looked like. So CodePath, different students have talked about, how CodePath has affected them, how it's changed their life. As you can see here, some students talked about, how they've been able to create iOS applications from scratch, as well as, that the development was really supportive and that the instructors were engaging. So if this is something that interests you, definitely take the plunge. From all of the testimonials that I've heard, it can be really life-changing. Okay, so let's say that you really want to bring CodePath to your campus in spring 2021 because you don't have an on-campus course, and you think that this would be something that would be really beneficial to your peers, to your friends that are in computer science. We are now open for applications for spring 2021, bringing CodePath to your campus. So we offer free 10 to 12 week long courses for universities and colleges throughout the US in Android, iOS, and cybersecurity. So these courses can be professor-led or student-led. CodePath, once again, has that same rigorous curriculum that we just went over, built by engineers in Silicon Valley. So we're not just going to throw you into the wolves, right? We actually have a tech fellow training where we will walk you through what all of the assignments look like, how to facilitate a course. You'll have support from gurus as well as our operations team. I know Karen's in the chat as well, answering questions. She helps run the tech fellow training. So we give instructor training, full curriculum and lesson plans for sessions, creating and grading assignments. We have a discussion forum. So if there's any questions that maybe one of your students has, you can send them to the discussion forum and have them, answer questions involving homework help. We also have curriculum updates, marketing resources for marketing your class. And once again, everything is completely free. So I'm going to be sending this deck. And at the end here, you can see that you would go to go.codepath.org/new-campus. And from there, you can fill out that form, just talking through what course you would like to bring to your campus. Are you going to do it, with who are you going to do it with, or all of that. So I can talk you through what bringing CodePath to your campus means, but we are at several different universities throughout the US. As I mentioned, we've been at 50. So really bringing this to your campus is something that we support you in doing fully. And it's also a really good experience to put on your resume. You pioneered a new course in your campus. You thought outside the box. You gained management experience and leadership skills to teach this course to your peers. So I think it really shows a lot of leadership. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And I'm gonna look through the chat and see if there's anything. I know that you all have been answering lots of questions here. Is there anything maybe that, okay, so the question from Carol, how many students are you accepting for the remote version? So we're working on a rolling basis. So the sooner that you apply for the remote general course, the more likely that you'll be able to actually get in. And the numbers somewhere upwards of 100. So there's definitely some room for that, but you definitely want to apply as soon as possible. But if CodePath is at your campus, you should not be taking our general course. From ENC, you're at FSU, right? Perfect. I knew that. So yes, your course will be running, go Knowles, all day. Your course will be running remotely if your campus is remote. And from my understandings, when talking to your tech fellows, Liz and Andres, who are wonderful, you will be running remotely. So yeah, it just depends on your university. So a question from Jennifer Trin, upon completion of the course, do students receive a certificate of completion or a virtual badge? Yes, you do. So this is something that we send over when you create the course memo. Do you have a little more information as far as the certificate goes or what that looks like?
Yeah, I do have it. Let me just go ahead and find mine.
Yeah, so you can post that all over your LinkedIn. You can post it on Facebook, have your parents print it out, just it's something great that you can have.
This is the one that I received. I got the certificate for being a tech fellow, but it looks pretty much the same as for the students. This is for being a tech fellow. So I didn't take the course actually. I learned iOS previously somewhere else, and then I applied directly to start teaching it as a tech fellow. And then you get this cool certificate that you get signed by our CEO and also CTO and CLO, Chief Learning Officer. And yeah, and you can put that. I put it on my LinkedIn, so you guys can put it on your LinkedIn as well. I have other stuff on it too, but if you all want to connect with me and check out what I have from CodePath, I'll go ahead and share my LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point, Guillermo. So if you want to be a tech fellow and you want to bring CodePath to your campus, it is not a requirement to have taken one of our courses. The only requirements are, one, that you're committed and that you're willing to run this course on your campus and help market the course and give it your all. And also those other requirements that we mentioned as far as data structures and algorithms go.
Yes, sir. CSSI.
The question of, for people who are unable to get into the course, will observer status be available? I'm not entirely sure if we're granting observer status for the remote course. I don't think that's been released yet, but I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
For the observer status,
For the remote class.
What we plan on doing is that if, for example, we fill in the cap for the CodePath General 6-week course, then what we're going to do is we're going to ask some tech fellows if they're willing to accept more students into the university. And so we'll just allocate you into one of the university courses that are run by our tech fellows, which are other students essentially, since most of them are going to be online. So we'll make sure that we'll be able to accommodate you as long as the tech fellows are okay with the load of students that are going to be taking the course. But yes, we're going to try to fit in everyone.
But if you're interested, the biggest thing I would say is, don't think too much. Apply, finish your pre-work. We're working on a rolling basis. So if this is something that you're interested in, just go ahead and apply. So a question from Saran. Advice to someone who can't decide between iOS and Android. I'll let you guys take it from here.
They're both great courses. I'm obviously biased towards iOS. In both courses, you'll gain a lot of knowledge. They're both also going to have a similar curriculum. Just one's on the iOS side and one's on Android. So at the end of the day, it's completely up to you. I would suggest checking your campus to see if the iOS class or the Android class is offered on your campus, because I think that would be the most useful, because you can meet fellow students at your campus.
Yeah, and if you want, you can, and if none of them are offered, then you can bring it to your campus and start teaching both. Maybe get a group of students together. Start your on-campus club or CodePath, like an extension of it, which is something that I did, and then from there you'll start getting a lot of experience just by establishing that CodePath. And for Alan, yes, that is correct. So technically you can enroll to our course even though you graduated, as long as you are in college. So if you're going to get your master's and you're taking your master's, you can take it, but you have to be in the master's program.
So you have to be in a university at the moment too.
You have to be at a university at the moment. And I'll just click on at the moment. No, most of our courses are offered for university or college students. We do have some courses that are for graduate students, but that's only in the summers, and that's in advanced what do you call it? Advanced algorithm structures, which is like super heavy machine learning stuff that I don't really want to. I'm not interested in that field, but if you are, you can definitely get into it as long as you demonstrate that capacity.
Also, if you're here and we're running CodePath on your campus, like let's say Ian from FSU, and you think this is really cool, definitely spread the word to students, your friends, anyone else that's been in your classes. Tech fellows, they bring CodePath to their university, but they're also, in charge of filling their classes. So if this is something that interests you and that you like it, definitely tell other students that you think would benefit from this course. Maybe someone that was in one of your study groups or so on and so forth. Just bring in as many people as you can, because we all grow better together as we take advantage of these courses.
Now there is one workaround that I could suggest, and that is if you like become a tech fellow essentially and help us out teaching at a university, because essentially you'll still get the material, but you're gonna have to like help us with teaching students, which is one way to get access to it. Because I do know we have a tech fellow she recently graduated with her master's in cybersecurity at San Jose State University, and she's still a tech fellow, even though she's already like working at Walmart Labs as a software engineer. She's still helping us out as a tech fellow and still getting access to our material because she's helping us out with teaching the cybersecurity. She took all of our code courses, cybersecurity, Android, and iOS, but she's going to be focusing on iOS and cybersecurity this fall. So that is one way you can sort of be enrolled in our course, if that makes sense. But it's not going to be a course. It's more going to be like a training and the tech fellow program. Train a person.
So from Jennifer, just to reconfirm, even though all the classes are online for the fall, the university-led ones have unlimited seats. So, you know, it really depends on, so it's about 25 students per course um, when it's in person. So now it's in remote. So there's a little bit more of flexibility with that. You know, it just depends on what university you go to or what university you're trying to apply to. So that's kind of what that looks like. But we definitely have if CodePath is on your campus, definitely apply. There's still room for you. So yeah, Carol Fung. Do you train a person who wants to be an instructor? Yes, we train you through that 6 to 8 week training that I mentioned. We walk you through all of the assignments, all of the curriculum, what that's going to look like, as well as how to be an instructor. And I think something important to note is, like, for example, Guillermo was never a teacher, or Mark was never a teacher and then became, you know, it's not like he studied education, right? He just took a chance, really feels passionate about bringing this course to his university and went ahead and became a tech fellow. So there's always a first time for everything.
And Alan, yeah, we can definitely follow up with you. I'll put down my email so we can talk more one-on-one and get in touch, and we can set up a time to chat about how you can take our course in a way that you don't necessarily have to be in. I know that sucks, but we can still help you out as long as you're willing to help us out as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then and I do want to follow up for those that are interested. So from what I'm seeing, I know that a lot of you. Okay, yeah, feel free. Any of you, feel free to email me, follow up with me. I'll set up a calendar invite with you all once you email me, and we can chat about where you are right now and how you would like to get involved. And it seems that a lot of you would like to get involved with the teaching aspect, which is crazy. That's really good. I can give you a little more. I would like to give everyone a little more background context about that experience. So I come from UCI, and when I enrolled as a tech fellow, I started teaching it as a tech fellow. And since the only way to get classrooms at my university was by establishing an on-campus organization. So I did that, and I call it CodePath at UCI. And it was a very long process. At first, it was just me teaching the course. This is me in my first information session that I held for students. There was only about 10 people that came. That's when I founded and then I taught them. Fast forward now, like a year later, some of my former students decided to join me as tech fellows. And fast forward, we do I took pictures for like a year later of our information session. And these are the outcomes of the second information session that I had a year later. So you can definitely see how it grew a lot. I wasn't doing the teaching anymore. I was now like the president of the club, just making sure that everybody knows what they're doing and ensuring that the tech fellows knew how to go about our course content. And it was just a really wonderful experience having a family, right? A family helped me lead the organization, because it's really hard and really demanding. But once you establish a system and a group of people, great students like you who want to help out other students, everything else will just work out great as long as you're putting in the work. And now fast forward to today, and you can see this is my whole team right now today. These are all my tech fellows that are helping me out carry out CodePath. And now that I graduated, I wanted to make sure that I established a family of tech fellows that can help me out carry out CodePath at UCI, and just be able to come back 20 years later to UCI, to my alma mater, and then just come in, ask a random student, hey, what's your is there any clubs here that are like one of the cool ones where I can donate my money to? And my wish is to hear the answer from the student saying, yeah, have you heard of CodePath at UCI? That's my end goal of like 20 years from now. So I can guarantee you all, for those that are interested in being a tech fellow, it's definitely a long process. You don't start seeing the results immediately, and I can guarantee you that because it feels like you're not accomplishing a lot during the first weeks because you're not seeing any results, right? Because, well, when you think about it, our training is 6 weeks long. So that's just to prepare you for iOS, to learn iOS. Then you have to prepare yourself also for communication. How do you actually present? How do you communicate complex technical topics in computer science to students? And then you have to make sure that you retain the students to complete the course, up and to go from start all the way to finish, which is demo day. And then until then, like about a semester or 2 semesters later, that's when you're going to start having students come up to you and asking you questions like, hey man, they're going to come back to you and say, hey, remember when you taught me iOS? Now I'm getting job offers for iOS. Now I'm over here. Now I got options to choose from. And that is exactly my situation at UC Irvine when I started teaching. I taught in winter quarter, and then fast forward to fall quarter of this year. I had my favorite memory is of 2 students who were freshmen that were taking the course when I was teaching it. They come back to me fall quarter as sophomores, and they're like, "Hey, Guillermo, I have a problem that I'd like to help some. I would like some advice on." And I asked them, "What's up?" And they asked me, "Hey, I don't know if I should go with Cisco or Microsoft." And she ended up with Microsoft later on. And then the other student, he came up to me and he asked me, "Hey, man, I don't know who to go with. I'm in between Lyft or Microsoft." And I was like, "What? Dang, I don't even know how to go about this because back in your times, I didn't even have these kinds of problems. For me, even getting a rejection, was already good enough for me to like feel happy about these issues." But like mentioned before, from the course teachings all the way until the results, that was like about 6 to 8 months. So just to show you all that teaching is something that you don't see the fruits ripe until like months to come.
Yeah, definitely. From what I've heard also from students that are bringing CodePath to their campus or that have been tech fellows, right now it's pretty complicated to get an internship. So this can kind of be a replacement or another avenue for getting some of that experience under your belt. So, I know we're running up on time, so I'm going to follow up with a link to the slide deck, all the links to apply, as well as a link to bringing CodePath to your campus. I've been with the organization for a couple months now, and every time I talk to a student, it's always a good word or they're extremely excited about CodePath. So I'm really, really happy and hopeful that we'll be able to do the same for all of you. So yeah, you have our emails. Feel free to connect. I'll be following up, and let me know if you have any questions moving forward. And also Mark and Guillermo are happy to help. Thank you all.
I'll put in my LinkedIn again for those that would like to connect with me. Here it is. Feel free to connect with me, message me.